So we went from 160,000 encounters a month for 4 years down to a small amount, right?
Deterrence is the touchstone of enforcement at the border, and if you take away the deterrence, people are going to come in. President Trump put the deterrence back.
The only point I'm trying to make is that the people are criticizing President Trump are the ones that allowed the problem to exist. You'd be the last group of people I would ask advice from about how to keep this thing going in the right direction. So I want the American people to know that President Trump in 6 months has gotten the border under control after 4 years of absolute chaos. So my belief is that as we move forward, we need to make sure that we do so, not to go backward in securing the border. In terms of enforcement, Mr. Arthur, is it important that people get the message that if you come here illegally, you will be kicked out?
Patriots, welcome back to Right View Nation, the channel where we cut through the political smoke, call out the lies, and tell you the truth the mainstream media refuses to touch. Before we dive into today's hard-hitting topic, make sure you subscribe, smash that like button, share this video with every freedom-loving American you know, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. This is how we fight back against the narrative, together.
In the Senate, I think. Is it Ms. Fleischacker?
Yes.
Okay. Let me just ask you just a general question. How long were you the chief of staff for ICE in the Biden administration?
A year.
Excuse me?
1 year.
Looking at those 4 years, would you say they were successful in terms of border security?
Well, at ICE, I was responsible for interior enforcement. I wasn't responsible for border security. I would say that the people I know worked as
your
hard as they
work
could
product,
every day.
I mean, the caseload, how would you rate border security during your time?
I would say border security is very important, and I know.
I mean, how do you think the Biden administration did in securing our border?
I think that there were a lot of people who came during the Biden administration.
Like 11 million. I would say that's not very secure. Mr. Veliz? Yeah, thank you, sir.
Believe, sir, yeah.
Yeah. How would you rate the border security initiatives of President Biden, successful or not?
Senator, I'm here to testify based on my 30 years of experience as a police officer in building trust and creating safer communities. I'm not an expert in providing you with an assessment of the Biden administration.
Well, I mean, just generally speaking, 11 million encounters is a lot, right?
It seems like a large number, Senator, yes.
Yeah, okay. So the goal is to fix that. Mr. Arthur?
Yes, Senator.
How did we go from the worst border to the most secure border in like 30 seconds?
It's all a matter of will. The laws were already in place at the time that President Biden took office. He could have continued the same policies that President Trump had in place when we had a very high level of border security. In fact, even before Title 42 went into effect, the border was secure based upon my 3 decades of experience. But the reason that the border became insecure is because those policies were reversed and the detention mandates that this Congress has put into place were ignored.
So we went from 160,000 encounters a month for 4 years down to a small amount, right?
Deterrence is the touchstone of enforcement at the border, and if you take away the deterrence, people are going to come in. President Trump put the deterrence back.
The only point I'm trying to make is that the people are criticizing President Trump are the ones that allowed the problem to exist. You'd be the last group of people I would ask advice from about how to keep this thing going in the right direction. So I want the American people to know that President Trump in 6 months has gotten the border under control after 4 years of absolute chaos. So my belief is that as we move forward, we need to make sure that we do so, not to go backward in securing the border. In terms of enforcement, Mr. Arthur, is it important that people get the message that if you come here illegally, you will be kicked out?
Absolutely. Unless there is enforcement, people will be more likely to cross the border illegally. People will be more likely to remain in the United States illegally. Barbara Jordan said credibility in immigration enforcement is simple. Those who get to come in, come in. Those who should leave, leave. And those who are here unlawfully should be forced to stay or forced to leave.
So clearly, some mistakes have been made. I definitely want to fix some people that shouldn't have been, caught up into the system. We need to get that right. But the consequence of backing off on interior enforcement and deportation, do you think it would send the wrong signal and undercut our efforts?
Absolutely. The immigration laws are impossible to enforce in any stage, consular, border, interior, if they're not enforced.
Let's just assume for a moment, which I do, that most of the people coming here illegally are not coming to commit crimes, but a lot of them do. Senator Cornyn spread a light on this, and a lot of people dead because of bad immigration policy. Laken Riley, the man who killed Laken Riley, was released because of no detention space, went to Georgia and eventually killed this young lady. So my point is, whatever we do, we don't want to go backward, we want to go forward. And if we change our enforcement policies in the way being proposed, I think we'll lose our gains, and I don't want to do that. Thank you, Senator Cornyn, for having this hearing.
Thank you, Senator Graham. Senator Klobuchar.
Folks, what we just witnessed in the Senate hearing is the perfect snapshot of the disaster that is Joe Biden's border policy. And it's a disaster by design. Let's break it down. We had the former chief of staff for ICE in the Biden administration, a person who should be one of the most informed voices on border enforcement, basically admit that 11 million migrants have crossed into our country during Biden's presidency. 11 million. And then she says, that's not very secure. No kidding. Do you realize what 11 million people means? That's more than the population of entire U.S. states combined. That's an invasion, not immigration. And under Biden's watch, it's been nothing but open gates, zero deterrence, and a complete betrayal of our sovereignty. Then, we had another witness, a longtime police officer, who couldn't even bring himself to rate Biden's border security. You know why? Because deep down, everyone knows it's been a failure. You don't need to be an expert to understand that 11 million encounters is an astronomical number. But then came the real truth bomb, from a man who's been in immigration enforcement for decades. He laid it out plain and simple. President Trump had the border under control. The laws were already there. Biden could have kept them in place, but instead, he reversed every effective policy Trump had implemented. Title 42, remain in Mexico, detention mandates, all thrown out the window. And the result? The most insecure border in modern history. Patriots, deterrence works. When people know that crossing illegally will get them deported immediately, they think twice. But when you signal weakness, when you broadcast to the world that America's border is a revolving door, the floodgates open. That's exactly what Biden has done, and it's exactly why we're in this mess. And let's not pretend this is just about people looking for a better life. Yes, some are. But many are criminals, cartel members, drug traffickers, and worse. And because Biden gutted interior enforcement and refused to expand detention space, dangerous individuals have been released into our communities. Need proof? Just look at the heartbreaking case of Laken Riley, a young woman murdered by an illegal immigrant who should never have been in this country in the first place. He was released because of so-called lack of detention space. That's not lack of space, that's lack of political will. And it cost an innocent American her life. Every single politician pushing to weaken border enforcement has blood on their hands. Period. The truth is, Biden and his allies don't want a secure border. They want a permanent open border pipeline to flood America with millions of new dependents, reshape our demographics, and cement their political power. It's about control, not compassion. We as patriots must make it crystal clear. Illegal entry means deportation. No exceptions. That's not cruelty, that's the law. That's sovereignty. And it's the only way to protect American lives, jobs, and communities. If President Trump could secure the border in just 6 months, there's no excuse for what's happening now. Unless, of course, the chaos is intentional. And I believe it is. Patriots, we can't stay silent while this administration sells out our nation's security. We need to stand up, speak out, and demand that every single one of our leaders put Americans first, not illegal migrants, not cartels, not globalist agendas. If you agree that Biden's border policies are destroying our country and that it's time to put the Trump-style enforcement back in place, share this video with your friends and family. Like it so the algorithm pushes it out. Subscribe so you never miss a dose of unfiltered truth. And comment below. Do you believe Biden's border failure is incompetence, or is it intentional? This is Right View Nation, and we will never stop fighting for America's borders, America's laws, and America's future. Stay strong, stay loud, and stay patriotic.